With the paper cuts, I start with a drawing on the paper, and everything is flipped in reverse. What I'm doing in the drawing process, and what I think has sort of happened naturally, having done this for, doing it in stenciling, is everything has to remain connected. The piece of paper has to be one continuous piece, or there has to be a line that goes through the whole thing. I was in Argentina, and there's a huge stencil graffiti scene down there. And after I came back from Argentina, I wanted to do something with stenciling, and at the same time I found the slides from my grandfather. I started making stencils from those slides. Working from the photographs, I created these multiple layers of paper cuts and was printing them with spray paint. But recently, in October, I started focusing on one of the layers of the stencil making process, which contained all the finest lines, and I just started incorporating all the shadow and all the color and everything, all the detail into one layer, and using that layer as the piece of art instead of printing it at all. And this is from my own photograph on the subway. It's actually, I call this my self-portrait because I'm in the reflection up there in the window. You can see me taking the picture of these ladies. This was the first time where I was consciously looking at these people on the subway as a paper cut. So before I took the camera out and committed to whipping out this big F4 on the subway and like taking it up, I looked at it and I said, all right, I could see how that would work. I'd see how I would cut that. I'd see how that shadow would translate well into the paper cut. How would I do the reflective bench, the reflection in the window and that guy standing there. And so once I had sort of said, okay, I think this would work really well, then I took the picture. What might be a good segue into that is like, everything looks very similar, except the map. Like there's this map that, Recently got a commission. The client wanted to do something from an antique map, and he knew only that he wanted to do something involving an antique map. And he didn't realize until he saw my other work, he was introduced to my other work, that it would be interesting to do it out of cut paper. But I had no idea when I agreed how I was going to go about actually getting from an image of the antique map from 1651 to a paper cut of that map. And so it was a crazy learning process, ended up being the hardest project that I've ever done, almost in anything, I'd say. Not just artistically, but it took me longer than any art project has ever taken me. Where I live or where I work is a huge influence. Focusing on those industrial garages and businesses up and down Coney Island Avenue and Flatbush Avenue. And that neighborhood, it's the stuff you see, it's the stuff you walk by and you don't pay attention to. A garage door opening with a guy leaning in it, smoking a cigarette. And he was never meant to be a piece of artwork. That garage was never meant to be a piece of artwork. It's dirty and it's gritty, but when it's clean and in white paper, it all of a sudden has like a different air about it.
When and where is the show?
The show is on May 10th at the Christopher Henry Gallery on Elizabeth Street between Grand and Broome. And it's international. I mean, the list of artists is ridiculous.
And they're all paper cutters.
Everybody's paper cutters. They're all cutters. Some facet. I love this medium, really, more than anything I've ever done before, which makes me need to clean out the space because now all I need is paper.
Turn on me, I've been left to pouring out my heart. Sorry.